Good morning, students. Today, in lecture number 1 of this semester, we are going to discuss the syllabus of this paper, paper number 14 in detail. Paper number 14 in detail of semester 6th, because this will be the last semester of you. So my dear students, in the previous paper number 10, we have discussed in detail the views of Sidney's on classicism, because Sir Philip Sidney was also one of the well-known writer, philosopher and critic. He has expressed his views on the classical writing, and also besides that we have also studied in detail the views of Aristotle on tragedy, means Aristotle's views on tragedy, and also we have discussed in detail the literary terms, which were 10 in number. The same way we have for this syllabus also we have 10 literary terms in unit 3rd. So we have for this semester the syllabus that we will go through it. We have unit 1. Unit 1 is for William Wordsworth. Dear students, you might have heard about William Wordsworth. William Wordsworth, we have concept of poetic diction and concept of poetry. This is for your syllabus. Concept of poetic diction and concept of poetry. These two areas of William Wordsworth's writing or criticism are for your syllabus, because being a poet and critic, William Wordsworth very well highlight the concept of poetic diction and concept of poetry through his well-known critical seminal book, that is Preface to Lyrical Ballad, which is written by William Wordsworth along with S.T. Coleridge. Being a poet and representative of the Romantic age, William Wordsworth very well highlight the concept of poetry, what he means the concept, and for whom. So he was the first poet, trendsetter and critic who wants equality for all in literature. So for the first time he raised the voice, changing the trend to give equal status, means the representation of rural, lower class people in literature, and he does so, means he includes. So the concept of poetic diction and concept of poetry are the well-known areas, aspects that for our syllabus that are taken from Preface to Lyrical Ballad, published in 1798, critical book. Then we have the unit 2nd is for F.R. Lewis. Unit 2nd is for F.R. Lewis, and his areas of studies are conception of literature and conception of business criticism. Conception of literature and conception of business criticism. These two areas of FROS very well highlights his well-known books which very well focus on these ways, because these are taken from his various books, and these books which are written by FROS very well comment on the aspects that fully covers the conception, means the concept of literature. What is the real concept of literature that FROS very well points through his well-known texts. Because these two aspects, conception of business criticism and literature, are taken from his well-known books. The books like Scrutiny, Reunion, and so on. Because this is the collection aspect from the 7-8 books of F.R. Lewis. Beside these two units, we have the third unit also, and this third unit is for the literary terms like the previous semester, because we have 10 literary terms, and out of 10 you will be asked in the exam 4, each for 4 marks. 4 into 4 are 16, and this one section is for 17 marks. This is 17 marks, and the remaining 16 marks will be for the literary terms. If the like previous sense you have the online exam, then you will be asked the objective type questions instead of the long narrative short terms on literary terms or long narrative questions on this. You have the literary terms like paradox, personification, realism, satire, realism, satire, sentimentality, style, symbol theme, symbol theme, technique, and wit. Dear students, these are the 10 literary terms which are prescribed for your syllabus. Look at one by one, because previously we have studied the 10 and now these 10 are for your syllabus. First, look at this, each and every one you will find, because literary terms means the terms which has their own meaning. The writers use in literature to discuss the hidden meaning, to elaborate the ideas, to extend the views. Because If you go through any literature out of 10, for example, we have symbol. The poets in each and every poem use lot of symbols, and each symbol has the unique hidden meaning that writer through his personal, through his observation in the universe, in the society, in the nature, he expresses his idea by mixing all together each and every aspect from the personal, universal, social, religious, educational. So that is the symbol has its own meaning. So number of poetries of the poets like Wordsworth, W. Yeats, T.S. Eliot are full with symbols. So symbolism means or symbol means to communicate the unique personal feelings, to highlight in detail the idea of the poet in his mind. Then we have the theme. Theme, you might have heard that each and every text, each and every genre of literature, maybe prose, poetry, novel, and play, have the fixed theme. Theme means each and every plot has the theme. Theme means the central idea. And each and every novel highlights the central idea in a brief words, sentences, lines. That means theme. You might have heard about the technique, because each and every writer uses the technique, or we can simply say they use the style of writing, or the style of technique. Technique means you might have seen many films, or you might have seen many novels. There is the technique means narrative techniques, third person narrative technique, and this technique, or also the style in the writing, because most of the poets use the style, and the stanza, use of rhyme, use of rhythm, that style. And even the writers like play, novel use the simple style, complex style, means that easy to understand, easy to narrate, and easy to digest. That is the style, technique. Even you might have heard about the word like wit. Wit means wisdom. From wisdom it becomes wit. And so most of the writers use the wit in literature. Means their wit means the explore of the ideas and the uniqueness of that text we will simply observe. Then you might have heard about the realism, reality, realistic play, realism, that also occurs in literature. We have the satire. Satire, you might have heard that Lect by John Dryden, Rape of the Lock by Alexander Pope are the extreme examples of the satire, because these poets, being the social reformers, social observers, they want to improve the society and remove the drawbacks of the people, and so satire is a literary weapon to expose the drawbacks of the people, to bring the harmony, to bring the social balance. So, Rape of the Lock by Alexander Pope, Macbeth by John Dryden are the extreme, well-known examples of these satires. Then we have sentimentality, because sentimentality words are used in the sentimental comedies, sentimental novels, or restoration comedies are also known as restoration comedies, or the comedy of ideas, or the sentimental comedies. Sentiments, the characters which plays with the sentiments of the people, and for them you go through the well-known play by R.P. Sheridan, that is School for Scandal, and another is Rivals. These two play very well highlight the sentimentality, sentiments, and so on. Personification and paradox, these are also the literary terms, and as well the figure of speech, which because the satire technique, weight, style, sentimentality, realism, theme, Not only the literary terms, means in literature we use these terms, but also these are very well known as the figures of speech that the writers use in literature to discuss the ideas in detail. So, my dear friends, this is the unit 1 highlights the William Wordsworth, his views, his ideas, his focus on the writing, his simplicity of the writing, his presentation of the common lower people in literature, and the definition of the poetry that he very well uses in the well-known text. Through the well-known text, previous to lyrical ballad. And in the case of F.R. Lewis, when you think about him, F.R. Lewis was also the well-known critic, and his idea very well highlights when you go through his books, The Great Tradition, Scrutiny, Education, you will find out how intelligent was the F.R. Lewis and his views on the conception of literature and conception of business criticism. Besides all that, this is the unit 3rd. We through or in this unit, because in the previous semester you have studied 10 literary terms or the figure of speech, and now 10. Means 10 plus 10 is these 20 literary terms or figure of speech. If you go through in detail, you will find that these literary terms how you found in the literary texts. Because any text, if you study, you have to think about this content, because these contents with these 20 literary terms you will find that there are number of literary terms, only out of number only 20 are prescribed. But when you go through this, you will find that how important, how you understand the literary aspect or any piece of literature, novel and play in detail or poetry in detail when you go through it in detail. So these are the more important aspects of literature, and whenever you go through this, you will find that how literature is aged and in which way we have to look at the literature. Because any poetry doesn't ask you write a detailed note on this poetry, because we have to find out that what is the theme of that poem, which technique the poet or the dramatist has used in that novel or poetry, what means satire, find out the silent characteristics of this so and so satire. So, or this Alexander Pope's Republic is the unique piece of satire. Comment this way style sentimentality on it. You will be asked many questions. So, my dear friends, in this first lecture of this semester 6th, we have in a simple way, we have gone through this syllabus. From tomorrow onwards, we will begin with the literary text, means critical text, William Wordsworth. We have concept of poetic diction and concept of poetry, and then we will finish up our list, and after that we will cover the literary terms. With this short information, I stop here. Thank you very much.